Coming up, Just Parlays with Chris King. Hi. Hey everyone, welcome to Just Parlay. Jim Lynch along with our buddy, the expert himself, Chris King. Christopher, happy Friday to you, my friend.
Jim, it didn't start.
It didn't start. Well, let's do it and make it start. Okay. Was it this though, Chris? All right, here we go. Goodbye. Take it. Charlie's Chris King. Happy Friday, everybody. Jim Looms here along with Chris King. And Chris, a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of fights yesterday in sports. Seemed like something in the water there. There's fights in minor league baseball and all kinds of crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's that time of year, right?
Yeah.
The weather gets warmer, so do the temperature or the tempers.
Yeah, it looks that way.
So fisticuffs aplenty.
Fisticuffs aplenty. How about the 21-0 roll that Memphis put on Minnesota last night, and Milwaukee. I'm sorry, not Minnesota.
No, you're right, Minnesota.
Is Minnesota? Okay, put it on Minnesota last night, and they didn't call a timeout.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota played about as well as you could in the first quarter. I mean, they were up by 18 points. They got cut to 7 at the half, but then they pulled way up ahead again. They were up, 25, 26 points late in the third quarter. And then I guess they forgot that basketball, like we talked about so many times, it's a 48-minute game. And if you don't actually play it, somebody's going to come back and burn you. Yeah. And we saw it in the fourth quarter where we saw, the final score was 37-12 was the fourth quarter run by Memphis overall. That 21-0 run. And Minnesota, they don't have anyone to blame but themselves. I mean, you look at the way they played offense. They obviously needed to get more production from Karl Anthony Towns. He only took 4 shots in the game in 33 minutes. I mean, put it in perspective, he had more fouls than shot attempts.
That's rare.
Yeah. And when you have Karl Anthony Towns, a guy that's been an All-Star multiple times, and he puts up 8 points, I mean, he had more blocks than shot attempts. I mean, that's not something you're going to normally see. But I mean, there were a lot of fouls in that game. I mean, you look, Vanderbilt had 5, Towns had 5, Naz Reid had 5 in 10 minutes. So kudos to him. Getting his money's worth. Pat Beverly had 4. You look over on the other side, Jaron Jackson had 5 for Memphis in 21 minutes. He was a non-factor, too. He was only 2 of 6. And, Morant struggled shooting the ball. He was just 5 of 18 from the floor. But when it came down to it in crunch time, Desmond Bane, Brandon Clark, and those guys stepped up, and Minnesota didn't have an answer. And you have to wonder, I mean, I saw Morant's comments after the game saying that there's a lot of people drinking after that loss in Minnesota. But how does Minnesota come back and respond from this now? I mean, you had a team that won 56 games in the regular season. You were blowing them out in your own building. You were poised to take a 2-1 series lead. And you turn around and blow it. And now the question is, can Minnesota get off the mat, or is Minnesota going to lay there?
You know, I would think they're going to lay there. And I'll tell you what, we said yesterday, one of our wonderful commenters asked about, taking Minnesota in the first quarter. And we said, that's probably not bad because it's, they amp up and playing, and, they may jump out to it, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's what happened. Was they started
you really can't finish much worse than what the Timberwolves did.
21 unanswered points is just boggles the mind.
You look at the end of the third quarter, it was 83-62 with a minute time to play in the third.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time Minnesota scored again, it was 83-83. So,
well, you could almost leave the court for 2 minutes and they couldn't put 21 points on the board.
I mean, you just look at, Minnesota, they blew the game with 80-80, 5:42 to go.
Yeah.
They gave up 5 straight as part of what turned into a long run that was a 14-4 that put Memphis up 10 with 17 to go, and you turn the lights on at that point.
Right.
Minnesota, they played well for a half. Unfortunately, basketball is
2 halves.
1 half, it's 2.
But you brought up a good point. It was even when that 21-point run was over, it's still a close game for a while there. And
right.
So you could have said, all right, we blew that, we still have a chance to win the game, just close this thing out. But you got to think Memphis is feeling really good because they figure, all right, we got down, but man, we came back and won this game. Now,
well,
they stole it.
How can you not feel good if you're coming back from down as many as 26?
Right.
It's basically the basketball equivalent of, one of my favorite NFL examples was Maryland Rich in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And the Oilers were up 35-3 and then went to lose. Mm-hmm. And I remember listening to the radio broadcast afterwards, and you got the Houston commentators saying, well, the lights have been on at Rich Stadium. They've been on since this morning, but you pretty much turned them out on the Bills right now. And, of course, that
came back to bite them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the trivia question on that is Frank Wright, who led, that was the largest playoff deficit in a game, led the Buffalo Bills to a win. And Frank Wright also was the guy who led Maryland to a big victory, come from behind victory. It's a backup to Boom Esiason against the University of Miami Hurricanes, who was rated #1 at the time.
Yeah, they were down 31-0. I think you may win 42-40.
Right.
And if I recall, he replaced another Buffalo Bills backup quarterback in the game. It was Stan Gilbaugh, who started.
The name out of the past.
Yeah, well, it's in the past for a good reason because Gilbaugh wasn't any good.
Right.
But,
there's that.
I digress. And like Michael said, it's Happy Friday, Happy Earth Day. And Kyrie Irving, of course, celebrating Flat Earth Day. Maybe he can figure out how the Nets can win a game on the road or at home because they couldn't do it on the road in the first 2 games against Boston. And if they're not careful, they can be down nothing, just like Denver is.
It's true. It's very true. Well, I'll tell you what. Talk about buddies at DraftKings. DraftKings has a really cool promotion for those of us who enjoy watching the max wagers at work, reading the content on wishing picks and parlays are all the goal should be done. Here's the deal. Is reading the baseball here. And yes, bet $5, win $200 in free bets with your first deposit of only $5 or more, and bet on any major baseball money line. You win $200 in free bets. Okay, so that's not too bad. You got to bet the money line. And when we get out our graphics, Chris will explain it to you. And the only thing I do with this is use our promo code. Okay, the promo code.
And you need $1,000.
That's right. Send it to Chris.
That's part of the thing.
Yeah, small bets.
Apparently, Jim messed up the terms.
I didn't get the graphic. Sorry, I'll put your PayPal account on there. Okay, use the promo code VAW. That's Winners and Wonders Video to get all the information resources in the show. Now remember that in some states, it's happy morning with age. Just enter as always, please. We're going to go. We'll check out what's going on in Major League Baseball. We're going to start our trip around Major League Baseball. As the thing spins, it's the Mets and the D-backs.
Right, and we're talking about 2 teams at opposite ends of the standings. Really, the Mets 10-4 this season. They're 5-2 on the road. The Mets are 5-8. on the year. Let's say nobody's impressed with Arizona. They haven't really done anything. They're 2-4 at Pace Field. A couple of guys with 0 ERAs on the mound today is David Peterson, 1-0 with a 0 ERA and a 1.20 WHIP, 4 walks and 7 strikeouts and 8 in the third. He's on the mound for the Mets. He's taking over, of course, for the injured Taijuan Walker. Who's just part of the walking wounded in that New York rotation. We talk about you don't have DeGrom and you don't have and trying to get by with Scherzer and Tyler McGill. And that back end, 0-0 with a 0 ERA and 7 strikeouts or 4 for his pitch for the Diamondbacks. He's only made one start this year. I think he's spent some time on the shelf as well. And this comes down to offense, really. The Mets 6th in runs per game at 4.79. They're 9th in runs on the road at 486. Meanwhile, Arizona's just tied for 27th in runs per game at 2.85. They're averaging 2.50 at home, which is tied for the worst in the majors with the aforementioned Nationals, who, of course, did not pull out the win yesterday against the Diamondbacks.
Right.
The Mets are 4-0 in their last 4 against a right-handed starter. They're 5-1 in their last 6 series openers. They're 13-3 in their last 16 as a favorite. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks are 11-40 in their last 51 against teams with a winning percentage above 600. They are 0-4 in their last 4 at home after a road trip of at least 7 days. And the Mets have had a lot of success against Arizona lately. They've 11 of the last 13 games. I'm going to go with the Mets and Peterson over Gallen and company in this one.
I have a question. Good to see Euler and Michael and Super Sly. Good to see the families in town. Both teams played on the East Coast and flew overnight to get to Arizona. I don't know if anybody like Elias Sports Bureau or somebody like that has statistics on how many runs are scored by two teams when they, cross the country and play the next day. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure somebody's done that research, whether it's Elias or ESPN Sports and Information or somebody.
But, to me, I agree. The Mets should win this game. But do you really think this is definitely one of those games where you might want to stay away from playing the over on this thing?
Yeah, let me just see what total is for that one. They've got it set at 8.5. And if you look, the Mets have seen the under go 7-5-2 in their games. Arizona's seen the under go 10-3. So I probably wouldn't expect a ton of offense in that contest from either side. So if you're going to play the total, I'd probably lean towards the under. I mean, you look at the Mets' recent games, 8-7-4. They had that 9-run game against the Giants that went extra innings. But in the 3 games with Arizona last weekend, 13 runs in the opener, but 5 runs in each of the last 2 games of that series, including the one where Peterson started.
I don't know. They, both could come and be 11-10 tonight, but I have a feeling that there'll be a lot of guys that by about, the 5th or 6th inning, he's going to be out there sleepwalking. So
it wouldn't be a surprise if that was the case. Because we talked about the Rangers and the Islanders yesterday. I felt bad because we talked about how that game would probably stay under because 9 of the last 10 meetings had. And then the Rangers were up 3-0 after 1 period of play and went on to win 6-3.
Right.
So, every time, just like Roddy Piper says, just when you think you have all the answers, I change the questions.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
And that's basically the way things went as far as that yesterday. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw some wackadoo 11-10 game.
Right, and, at the end of the day, the sage wisdom of Rowdy Piper always means also for that.
Exactly,
right,
can't argue with him.
No. Can't argue with him or Yoda. Okay, so, all right, so the Mets and the D-backs. From there, we're going to the Reds and the Reds. We got 2 teams that are seeing red. But you have to ask on this one.
The Cardinals 7-4. They're 4-3. Of course, we faded them yesterday against the Marlins. If you were along for the ride with us, you would have walked away as a winner because the Marlins won that one rather easily, 5-0 behind Pablo Lopez. The Cardinals 7-4 overall, 4-3 on the road. They're facing a Reds team. That's not a typo, folks. The Reds are 2-11. Overall, they are 0-2 at the Great American Ballpark. Steven Matz, 1-1. His ERA is ugly because he got shelled in his first outing. He's coming off a win in his last start. 1.50 whip, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, and 8 2/3. Against Hunter Green, 1-1 with a 4.35 ERA, 1.065 whip, 2 walks, 13 Ks.
Sounds like a subdivision.
Yeah.
I live in Hunter Green.
And now, don't get me wrong, Hunter Green can rev up the radar gun. He threw, I think, 37 or 38 pitches over 100 miles an hour in his last start.
Yeah, he did.
You know, if you don't throw anything else,
right,
sooner or later people are going to realize, hey, we can catch up to this. It doesn't matter how fast it is.
How many of them did he throw across the plate?
Well, I mean, he's only got 2 walks. So.
Okay, then he's got velocity plus, control.
He's got some control, but the problem is though, if it's the only pitch he throws earlier, people are going to catch up to it.
They can catch to it. Certainly, the bats of the Cardinals can catch up to it. They got some guys that can hit.
Yeah, the Cards in runs per game at 455. They're middle of the pack offensively on road 357. But the Reds are tied for 27th in the majors in runs per game at 2.85. They're tied with Arizona. They average 4 runs per game in their 2 games at home. Unfortunately, they gave them, I think it was something like 17 in those 2 games to the Guardians. The Cardinals 9-2 in their last 11 series openers. They're 8-2 in their last 10 against Stars with a win list of 1.15. They're 11-3 in their last 14 on the road against Ray. It's number very dismal. Let's be honest. 3-15 in their last 18 overall. 1-5 in their last 6 series openers. 0-4 in their last 4 against left-handed hitter. I know those aren't pretty right now, but if you look at the Reds' offense, neither is there.
They're not pretty either. Yeah.
So let's play the smart way, and we'll roll with Cardinals as much as I hate to do it. You know, if you're looking for a team that's going to deliver a win, sometimes you have to swallow your pride and deal with the fact that, the benefit of having or playing a bad team or a team you don't like, I should say. And that's the case here.
Hey, real quick, Max Wagers, winners and whiners, picks and parlays. That's good for you. Can't be free, as the old saying goes. If it's free, it's for me. And that is a Major League Baseball betting guide that has over 100 pages of content. That's right, folks. It's outstanding. It gives you all kinds of information that you will need to get better at betting on baseball. It's in-depth analysis, some of which was written by my partner in crime, Mr. Chris King. And it's a great book. It really is. It's got plenty of cool stuff. You should check it out. And we're also going to get it for free. You can go to the show box. That's right. Go down below to the show box. And that part that says show more, it'll scroll down. You can get to our information we gave you on DraftKings for baseball and things. You can get to Chris's picks, and you can also get to, of course, sign up for and receive for free this baseball book. Okay, so by all means, all things baseball, DraftKings for betting, and teach you how to bet. Get that free guide. Okay, so both of them in the show box below. I prefer we are heading out to the ice and today marks, I believe, 1 week left in the regular season of the NHL, and there's still some loose ends to tie up.
There's only 4 games on the schedule tonight, which means that that means Saturday going to be full of games to keep an eye on. But not a ton of tonight, but we've got you covered.
Right, that's what we're here for. So going to the ice, we've got the
Team A and Team B.
Right. Cardinals and the Reds still playing. Hang on a second. Okay, and it's next. Caps. Jumps them back. Okay. The Caps and the Coyotes. And, the Caps have been playing well. They play better on the road than they play at home.
Yeah, they're 20 for 8 on the road compared to team 15-5 on home ice. The Coyotes are bad. They're 22-49-6. We talked about them losing the other night to Chicago in overtime. They're just 10-26-2 at home. Samson 23-10-5 with a 299 goals against and 97 percentage of shots. Apparently, I did copy when I changed it. They told that Milton not kept on kicking it for the Coyotes. He's 12-31-3 with a 367 goal and 899 save percentage and 1 shutout. For Arizona, Washington into the leading goal scorer at 3.39, 14 goals against, 2.5. The Case Giants in the leading goal scorer at 2.44, they're third worst in goals against at 3.79. Arizona is Washington is for 1 of the best 5 as a favorite, 7-2 in their last 9 on the road, 6-2 in their last 8 overall. Arizona is 21-4 in their last 75 games as an underdog. They are 10-3 with teams against teams with a winning record.
Hey, Jason, I think you're onto something there, buddy. Why is that to take the lead?
From the first game, I said,
Nothing good to come from it.
6 something, and I was going to put it up.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to end up being Detroit would be 5-3, but it ended up 5-2 instead. But yeah, I see that.
Yeah. I agree with you, Michael. Edmonton, Colorado will be very entertaining game tonight.
The effort on Colorado is you don't know how to play because they've been resting guys. That's when they lost to Seattle the other night where they were badly outplayed.
But we do know Edmonton will play people.
You're outplayed by the Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hope that they'll play better. But Edmonton's been well of late. I mean, let's not take anything away from what we've seen from the Millers.
Absolutely.
Fresh the imagination.
Mm-hmm. All right, from the game out in the desert to...
We're going to go to the Twin Cities.
Dun, dun. We talked about Minnesota a few minutes ago, but that was in basketball. The Wild and the Kraken.
Yeah,
and
the Wild.
Wait, there's Philip Grubauer's site.
Yeah, the Wild played last night, beat Vancouver 6-3. They're still tied with St. Louis for the second and third in the Central. We know those teams are going to play in the postseason. To me, the tiebreaker situation is idiotic when it comes to the NHL because St. Louis won all 3 meetings. They have more regulation wins, and right now Minnesota's in second place.
Mm-hmm.
So you do the math because it doesn't make any sense. Grubauer, 18, 29, 5, and 309 goals against an 891 save percentage, 2 shots. Starting against Marc-Andre Fleury. That's right, he's actually going to be between the pipes tonight. Fleury is 25, 22, and 5 on the year. Take a look, see what he's done since he's gone to Minnesota to see how much better he's been since he was in Chicago. Since coming to Minnesota earlier this season, he's gone 6-1 in 7 starts with a 259 goals against and a 921 save percentage. So those are some pretty good numbers. I'm surprised he hasn't got more time instead of Cam Talbot. The Kraken, 29th in goals for, 259. They're 24th in goals against 343. The Wild are 5th in goals for, 369. Hung 6th last night on Vancouver. 17th in goals against at 304. The Wild 4-0 in their last 4 after scoring 5 goals or more in their previous game. 6-0 in their last 6 in the Pacific Division. 6-1 in their last 7 overall. The Kraken 7-21 in their last 28 against teams with a winning record. 2-8 in their last 10 after allowing 2 or less in their last game. 1-6 in their last 7 when their opponent put up at least 5 in their previous contest. Minnesota went a little weird, but guess what? They played home yesterday. They played at home today. They played well at home with Seattle's all excited. They won 2 or 3 in a row. Still not going anywhere. France has a lot of work to do with that team. And I think when you're right with the Wild, they're by far the better team on the ice here. Mm-hmm. The Wild, to get the win.
The last time I looked it up, the last time that Grubauer and Marc-Andre Fleury met each other when they were on winning teams, average above 500, was when Marc-Andre Fleury was with the Penguins and Grubauer was with the Capitals.
How many years ago was that?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. So yeah, we're talking 4 or 5 years at least. So there's that. But I'll tell you what, we talked about this a lot at the trade deadline. That somebody was going to get Marc-Andre Fleury and it was going to pay off for them. And, they got him. And at 6-1, you can't argue with that. That's representing Carnett.
Yeah, I went to Toronto and were aggressive trying to get him, but, it seemed like Chicago turned off what they wanted in return because they wanted both first-round picks when Leafs inquired, and then they dumped him for a second-rounder. Yeah. So I don't understand that, but...
I don't either. What about the Capitals? That's right. We're picking the Caps tonight against the Coyotes out in the desert. It's I think it's the last road game in the series, road games the Capitals play before they get back to DC for the next couple games.
Washington after tonight will play they'll host Toronto on Sunday, and then they host the Islanders on Tuesday.
So there you go. All right, so the Caps will be ready to go. All right, Ken, now do not worry, buddy, because coming up next is anything and everything you know about the NBA playoffs. And here we go to the NBA, and everybody get your NBA questions ready. And we're talking about the amazing Memphis game last night. And hopefully we'll get some interesting ones tonight as well. All right, so here we go, boys and girls. Let me hit the button. Yay. Heat and the Hawks. This game played in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with the Heat. I don't have any faith in Atlanta, but we've seen them struggle on the defensive end of the floor. their turnover rate has been ridiculous in the first 2 games of the series. Trae Young has turned the ball over 16 times himself in 2 games. What's he going to do? Now, granted, Atlanta playing at home, they could start off strong like they used to with Minnesota, but the problem is they don't have Capella. He's out. They're on John College. You don't have Lou Williams. He's out too. I know that Miami's got some guys that are questionable. Adebayo, Martin, Morris, Pini Tucker, all questionable. The only one that probably won't play is Morris. He hasn't played in the series. Everybody's playing in games 1 and 2. It's down to the fact that they couldn't stop Jimmy Butler in game 2 if their life depended on it. They couldn't stop anybody in game 1. They don't have a ton of things at the end. We look here. The Heat are tied for postseason scoring offense at 115 points a game. They're shooting better than 50% from the floor. They're shooting 43.2% from 3. Atlanta, 98 points a game in the first 2 games of this series. That's not going to get up. They're only shooting 43.2% from the field. They're shooting 28.9% from beyond the arc. That's not going to get it by any stretch of the imagination. Atlanta has hoped they can start knocking down threes. But like Frank just said, the Heat have a very deep rotation. We've talked about Spoelstra when he dealt with the group all year long with Butler and, Adebayo and Tyler Hero and Doug Robinson and lesser known guys like Extras and Vincent and all these different stuff. When their minutes called, has to get some that are name players. Right. But in crunch time situations. And Miami's getting to know with a bunch of guys that, you've never heard of.
Good players.
Yeah. Or guys that, one thing Udonis Haslem was still playing in the league.
Right. But they're getting quality minutes out of him. Now, Kevin followed the lead on Memphis Seal last night, but he wasn't about Atlanta's first quarter. And we said yesterday, Kevin, that when we were asked about in that Memphis game, whether or not Minnesota got off to a hot start, and we said, yeah, they could. But how they finished, so it's quite possible that Atlanta gets off to a good start here at home, playing the first home game in the playoffs. But not the end.
Yeah, just looking here, Atlanta's favored by 1.5 after the opening quarter. It varies anywhere depending on the book. I see DraftKings at -1. I see FanDuel has the Heat favored by 1.5 a point. I stay away from quarters and stuff like that because all you need is last thing I want to see is if your team's up by 2 or whatever at the end of the quarter, they have a 30 or 3 or something like that, and it changes the deflection completely of that bit. Like I said, Atlanta could start strong. They could get the benefit of some calls. That gets some stuff like that.
We'll see what, Michael. We'll get to your football question. Just fish the NBA, okay?
But yeah, you can try and take the first quarter. That's something I usually do. I don't normally ace quarters or hits because I'd rather find out who wins the game at the end of the day than rather worry about who cares for their quarter. Because, like I said, maybe I do get 3 and Butler, and then also your advantage is on, and you're money.
Then you're in trouble. Now, Phoenix, the issue with Phoenix is a health one, right?
Right, and Devin Booker's going to miss a couple weeks with that hamstring injury, grade 1 hamstring strain. He won't play. He's the only name really to talk about on either side because everybody else is guys that have been out for eternity. But let's not overlook this now. The Suns won 64 games in the regular season. This guy has both lost mandates injury. When you look at who following at broke thumb, Canadians are ready. We'll look and see. Booker only 6 games. Played 65. Jonathan 60. Apparently, hit him and 6. What did that mean for this? Let's just. I know it's not all 3-point range. If they're 41 beyond the first game. That's all well and good. They had 7 to 30 in game 2. It's all and good. They're not going to shoot 7 to 3 with regularity. Okay? You're right. The Bulls were 28 in game 2. They were 27 in 3 games in 2 sets. The fun thing is that Boards was shooting that versus 3 over the course of the series in Coastal. This is not good. And I think Jim was a big for them. But I don't see him personally. Play for games of the season. The Olympics goes 52.4. World is shooting 45.8. So the world is shooting worse has a terrible 2-point percentage comparatively. If you look at this series, they're shooting 5.8 over, shooting 49 from 3. So if you look this down from 2-point range, the world is shooting 4.4%. Yeah, they'll play from East Yard. The Sun shooting 61.4%. It's going to pass and play and play the Warriors. Now, sure, you go down to the big, you can get big using your gumbo and your crawfish cafe and all that. But not necessarily what fans Phoenix team has been here already. They went to the finals last year. All this means is that the lineup's going to change a little bit. Booker's means they're going to play at a slower pace. They're by 4 per game, but not on the floor. This is going to slow, but in the end, Phoenix has the experience. Phoenix is going to adapt. And we can't teach. You have to learn by higher. You know, 2003, the rest of the team of their opponents scores at 100. They've 1-4 in the last 5 as an underdog. 1-4 in the last 5 at home against teams with a winning road record. And the Suns won 5 against the spread in the last 6 meetings in New Orleans. Can't that Booker's there. You know, it's amazing. Go to a bigger lineup because Cam Johnson get more minutes, slow things down, play more physical, and rely on defense. Suns get win here. And I see them going up in elimination. I'm not thinking New Orleans will win this. They'll keep it interesting. But they're
And it's about all they can. I mean, they're not necessarily. I mean, the Suns are Suns. I mean, like, they were able to win even when they weren't full strength, and that's testament to a good football, a good basketball team. Is being able to win when you don't have all the horses. Which, just what you're talking about, we tried to expose all the. Was, you know, the team win regardless of whether could play or not play. So that's definitely the way it works. So it worked out well in that. So, you know, the Pelicans pick for so the end going to be this like that. Now, people's questions that has to do with the Buffalo Bills. What do you think?
Well, I think Bills are going to look wide receiver, look corner early. There's not they would trade out for one trade out a couple second round picks. They don't move to pick up a veteran corner the next week or so. There's a talk that Von Miller was trying to recruit Joe Hayden because Hayden's a free agent, I believe, at this point.
He's not a new free agent.
Yeah, well, I mean, who is?
Right.
But if they don't like them going after somebody like Johnny or Jr., couple other guys out there. Yeah, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see J.C. Derrick's injury. He's been fully games in the last 2 years. If somebody like Emerson Williams falls to them, never have enough receiving threats and going out. Or you never know, they could sneak a linebacker or somebody in there.
Yeah. So Buccaneers can go. They have first round pick. They made that trade to the Jets, so they won't be picked into the second round. And my guess is, frankly, that it's likely that they're going to go on the defensive side of the ball, maybe a rusher, maybe defensive tackle. They're a little in the interior line there. And JPP on the outside is also the up to. It's probably defense going to be there as today, and they rusher or somebody interior with titles. Now as head coach, he being the former D coordinator, I feel about that route. So that would.
Well, I mean, Tanny does have a first round pick. They pick a tree set.
Wait a second.
We do for football. They have 1, 2, and 4. They don't have a run.
As of yesterday, the Buccaneers the 27th pick overall to the Jets for the second round, 35. Second round in 2023 and their third round in 3 rounds in 2023. Second round, the third pick there for them. So I got the data there. I got that out. I saw there. You want to know about Bills and the Brewers, and that question out for later. But now I'm going to the research department to find out if the Buccaneers still have a pick in the first round.
What if that was a box trade or something?
I don't know. I mean, it was they said, let's research there while you answer the question about the Phillies and also about the Parlays.
Yeah, the thing that concerns me about the Phillies is how badly they play. I mean, they haven't looked good. I mean, they're 2-0 since they got 3 and 3 games. They've never been beat Colorado in the finale in that series. They lost 2 to the Marlins. They lost 2 and 3 to the Mets. They just from a Rangers yesterday against Freddie Peralta. They spent a lot of money to get some bats in the lineup, you know. Castellanos and Schwarber haven't necessarily disappointed. If guys for 7 homers, Schwarber only hit the buck 70. That's 15 times and 47 at bats. I mean, let's be honest, the Phillies have to get better pitching than what we've seen so far. I mean, Arola has struggled. Here's red with 0.5. Suarez's ERA is 5.87. Wheeler's been smacked up like a batting practice pitcher. His ERA is 9.39. You've seen Milwaukee, you know, they struggled offensively early on, they're a little better. They swept Pirates, and I know everybody thinks, well, so that's the Pirates. That's the fun part about baseball is you have to beat teams that are in front of you on the schedule, and it just happens to be the way things are. I know that also that stroke, I think that, all of a sudden, like I said, the Brewers scored 15 runs in that game. I'm leaning towards Washington because their pitching hasn't been as bad as what we get from Philadelphia so far. I'm hoping Philadelphia to together because I think they're better than what they've shown. I don't know if they're going to put together right. And that's the big issue that I
All right, Chris, here's the
yesterday.
Yeah.
We had Bullard who came around yesterday. See who we put because I keep on the slides because I can do. We talked about in the 2 fights against Golden State and the Kings. The Blackhawks, they had losing the Kings prevailing. All 4 of those teams were victorious last night as well. So, we were us on that perspective. It was bad on the ice overall. I think pretty much everything we talked about yesterday on the ice that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a look here at the Blues, the Kings. Like we said, we talked about the Hurricanes. They won. We had the Rangers over the Islanders, Flames over the Stars, and then down in the dark we had Flyers over the Canadiens at plus money, the Sabres over the Devils at plus money, and the Penguins over the Bruins. So a good night for us on the ice all around. Casey DeSmith actually earned his money yesterday after the Penguin because he had struggled most of the year, but I think he's got 52 shots last night.
Yeah.
In Boston in a shutout win for Philadelphia.
Pittsburgh.
52 shots, a new franchise record for a shutout win.
Yeah, I've got. You're right. I did check it, and the Buccaneers have a first pick, and it is the 27th pick, and it will still be a defensive player. Probably an end rusher, probably a D tackle. So that's what.
For offensive linemen, like Trevor Payne of Northern Iowa.
Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody's that good, falls to them. Jason Light is one of those take the best athlete on the board guy. But I know that if you draft for need, that's where they're going to go as defense. If you draft for who's the best player available and it falls to 27, then yeah, I would not be surprised at all if they look at the offensive line.
I mean, because you lost Martin and Campbell.
Right.
So, I'm ready for Shaq Mason, but I really think Shaq Mason's going to help.
Not every game. He's a spot starter. I mean, he's a guy you bring in, plays for a couple of plays, and move out. So.
Right, but he took his son to the game yesterday.
Oh, that's nice. We got a hit for you there, Brian, at the 9th inning. The bases loaded and one soda up, and he pops up. So that's not good. But I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
Like I said, they don't
He's absolutely right. But who knows? I'll tell you what, we got here. Caesar's Sportsbook is giving us $1,100 in first bet insurance. So if you place a first-time wager of up to $1,100, and you get it back in the form of free bet if you lose. All right, so under that for basically, you can bet up to $1,100 first bet. You bet insurance. So if that bet doesn't pin up, they get covered at Caesar's. What you use? Come on, with the screen there. It'll come back again here in a second. There you go. Right at the tongue. ATS. And then CCR. Okay. Check out in the show box below. Remember, in some states, most states actually, you have to be 21 years or older to participate, and always bet responsibly. All right, cool. All right, so we will go to 2-4 cash.
Yeah, we talked about these ones. We talked about Minnesota over the correct. We talked about those in the rest. I'm going to keep the red show some sci-fi, which should be sometime around July. By which point, they'll got rid of everybody besides Joey Votto. We can't look at anything. I took care the other day. They didn't pay up. That should show you that never trust the Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
And the Heat over the Hawks. Atlanta's at home, as we saw yesterday. Never started off real strong. Minnesota started off strong. They both lost.
Sure.
Too much depth. The Heat have experience. They can talent. They get productive. Nobody, come out in a fantasy league or anything like that. Miami gets the win.
Lex, if you're asking the Nationals play tonight, they're going to play the San Francisco Giants. And 80 degrees a day. Yeah, it is. Weather has been a little wacky here in the EV. Quick question from my buddy Ninja. What do you think of the Blue Jackets tonight?
Play Ottawa.
Okay.
Neither team is going anywhere. They're playing us. Anton Forsberg against Elvis looking. But I flipped a flip just because basically going on a win flip right now. And I want Tampa on both sides of the line.
Right, Ryan. It still had a chance with the bases loaded and couldn't come through. So, frustrating night at the old ballpark. Fourth show coming up right now, and that gives us Rays. This is going to be an interesting series.
Corey Kluber against Michael Wacha. I think Tampa Bay, they seem to have found themselves a little bit on their way out of the winning city. Yesterday, lost to Toronto 3-2. Headline on the coast. When we get the extra base, talking about the Suns. That's with the Oilers. I'm going to go with the Oilers. I just think the way Edmonton has played, Colorado having nothing to play for at this point in the season, other than trying to keep their guys in. I think they'll be great. They'll start. I think we're going to be interesting. There's on home ice. They played one of their last 10. The ball to the Avalanche in a shootout in a game where Colorado overbailed on Murphy Kemper. And this one I think that it's going to be okay. As for the Cubs are against Katana, I try not to put them up here because I don't want to be accused of being a person. I wish it was possible. Look at the weather, and they moved that game from being a 2 weeks to starting at 8:05. Not sure how pitching is going to pan out in a situation given like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't went to the bullpens a lot earlier than expected.
That's for sure. You know what? Ryan's question about the Nationals. Yeah, the Scherzer thing last year, it should max because at the end of the season he was going to be free agent, and so they figured, all right, it was unlikely that they were going to re-sign Max, and so he gave him a list of teams. All three of the teams willing to go to the West Coast. The Dodgers were fit. The deal that they wanted the number one pitching prospect in the Dodger organization. They wanted a top catcher. The only way that came off was if they threw a return on the deal. They had made 2 attempts to extend Trey's contract without success. Trey was leaving. They hit free agency, and so they had control for 2 more years. But if you're all right, if we can get these 2 guys, we'll go for it. And so at this point in time, the Rendon situation was Rendon's deal was he actually took he's a Scott Boras guy. He took $245 million to play for the Angels out there for Scott's offices. Interestingly, Ryan, is Rendon has very little since he was hurt most of the last season with the Angels, and he hasn't played that great this time around. The guy that they really miss out of the bunch, besides, of course, you don't replace a Max. Trey Turner at shortstop is missing because Trey never led the league in batting last year. He's going to always be steals. He's a good guy. They didn't spend any money over the offseason because they're doing a reset, and as we found out, most likely that the team at least will take on a minority owner, perhaps somebody with a buyout, and that looks like at a early indication or that would be Ted Leonsis, who owns the Capitals, Wizards, and the Capital Arena. So he and Mark Lerner, who's obviously part of the Lerner family, Lerner's a minority owner in his Pets holdings. So it would be a nice handoff. So we'll see. But this is going to be one of those years where you watch a lot of the young players play for the National and see how the play plays out. Not fun, but I think they'll be back before it's too this year, but don't rule out next time. All right, time to go to the big board. Let's see what they in the sheet are.
Yeah, we got the Blue Jays over the Astros. I know everybody's excited because the Astros are throwing just Verlander tonight against Ross Stripling. I get it. I mean, Verlander's been good in his first 2 starts, coming off 8 shutout innings in his last outing win over the Mariners. But here's the thing: Houston's not hitting.
Mm-hmm.
They got played by Otani and the Angels in the last game of that series. They got 1 hit, struck out 12 times. They beat 7-2 in the game before that. They got beat 2 by the Mariners 2 games before that. Altuve is on the injured list. Correa is not there. Hitting a collective, you'll love this, Jim. The team average for the Astros, $1.99.
1 point under the Mendoza line.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker is was high on him last year.
Mm-hmm.
So for this year, he's 95. He's 4 of 42. Brandon's at 44. Altuve was hitting $167 before he went off.
Mm-hmm.
Yuli Grail's $147. Diaz $154. Martin Maldonado 043.
Oy. Not a lot of love in batting between both of the teams.
That's just the Astros.
Right, I know.
But Toronto's not hitter.
Yeah, got him. Toronto pulling it together. Look, they it was a sexy pick, and it looked like early on, went up.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Blue Jays, they've got Bush, you got Springer, you got Gurriel Jr., and you got Guerrero, and you got Chapman. They'll be even better when Teoscar Hernandez comes back on the IL. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Toronto. I think the fact that they're hitting, Houston's not, against the Verlander effect, for lack of better terminology. I think the Braves or the Marlins, if Atlanta wants to get right, they need to do it right now. They haven't looked good the first couple weeks of the season. Hopefully they'll turn it around. Well, I shouldn't say hopefully. Hopefully for the zillions of people that jumped on the bandwagon in Atlanta last season, they'll turn it around. First good cares. But I think they'll be Miami tonight.
The Superstation fans. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take Mariners over the Royals. Chris Flexen over Brad Keller. Seattle won yesterday. If J.P. Crawford doesn't make a couple of stupid errors, they win that game convincingly over Texas instead of losing 8-6. Speaking of the Rangers, I'm going to take the A's for an underdog at home. I take over Texas. Pitching matchup, nothing to write home about. Adam Oller starting for the A's. Glenn Otto getting a call for the Rangers as Sean Gray is apparently going to miss at least one more start. He sprained his knee the other day against Seattle in his previous outing, so he's hurt again. On the hard way, I look for the Heat and the Hawks to go over 221.5. We've seen the numbers be pretty high strung in that series already. And you have to think that Trae Young should have a better game offensively at home than he did road. Might get a few more calls to go his way into the stream. Milwaukee and the Bulls, let's say under 222.5. I mean, let's say that Middleton's hurt now. For Milwaukee, he's going to miss a couple weeks with an MCL sprain. So that takes a good secondary scoring option out. The Bucks are going to have to slow things down, play a little more defense. They'll keep this one down in the 2 and 15 range probably. Same thing we've said with the Suns and the Pelicans. Booker remained out. The Suns are better defensively, not playing. And they play at a slower tempo because they go a bigger lineup. Johnson's obviously bigger. They're going to slow down right a little bit and make New Orleans work on every possession. So I look for the two. Stay under 216.5. Stay with the under trend. I'm going to say Seattle, Minnesota end up under 6.5. The two totals between those teams, 5 and 6 goals. Minnesota scored 6 yesterday, but they're playing a second game of back-to-back. For it to be a little lower string there. Washington, Arizona. Now, Washington is weird because they've gone over in 10 of their last 11 on the road, and Arizona's seen the over go 6-0-1 in their last 7. But 9 of the last 12 meetings between these teams on the total. Wow. You do the math. And Ottawa, Columbus, I like to stay under the mark, too. I know both teams have had goaltending. Columbus is notorious for giving up big goal totals, but these two teams having nothing to play for pride and short supply with these teams. Look for it in the short.
Quick question here. How do you feel about them?
Well, the answer I give you to that is not very good. I know they went game 2, 4 minutes, and built it out. But you have to look at the numbers there. Bulls basically survived and won that game because they shut the bell from the mid-range. It's not really something that you survive with in this, era of the AA. I mean, let's be honest. Teams that are up, there's a lot of three-point shooting that runs wild here. You're talking about a team that got line because DeRozan had 41 and Vucevic had 4 and Levine had 20. And if you look at the shot profile from game 2, 17% of the Bulls attempts from the field in that game came at the rim, 27% from three-point range, and everything else was mid-range. Now, that's not going to work. You're not going to shoot 8% from beyond the arc. You're not going to shoot as well as from mid-range. And they're probably going to force as many turnovers as they did the first 2 games. I said in the end, Antetokounmpo and Lopez and all those guys are too good to end up falling down 2-1 in this series. It'll close, but again, I think Milwaukee will pull it out. If you look, like I said, DeRozan, Levine, and Vucevic combined for 85 points, and they still only won by 4. So it makes you wonder if they only put up 60 points, what's the final score going to be?
Well, it goes back to the fact that, once again, one team deeper than the other. One team has more weapons than the other. At this point in time, in the playoffs, you have to be able to play a rotation of anywhere between 7 and 10 players. You can't just 5 guys out there and pray they get it done for you. And look, I'm a big fan of Billy Donovan. He's a good coach, good guy. I'd love to see him do it. But and to be honest, I think with the Bulls, the Bulls have every reason to expect.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so, and as, was it Harry Doyle say? They don't call him the best color man in the business for nothing. So there you go. Let's see.
Brian Bull really paying off.
Really paying off. All that tuition, coming back on. Any more questions from the audience here, Christian?
No, looks
like we got it done. Okay. Well, gang, come Monday, Scott Steen's going to be here, and I'm going to be doing my work with the network. You won't be able to get rid of me that easily because I would pop back from time to time to sit in here with my buddy. I just want to take a moment to thank Chris because he's been a fantastic partner. He's been very gracious as a co-host from the standpoint of giving me some space to chatter from time to time. And he does it professionally. He does great work. It's great working with him, and I'm going to continue to be around. It's just not every day, but I've enjoyed my time here. Co-piloting with Mr. King, and he's a class act, so I greatly appreciate what he's done. Guys, we'll be seeing you all along the network, and we hope that you pay attention to everything that goes on here. Chris, thanks very much, as I said, buddy, your class act, and really appreciate the time we've had together. I've had a blast. You taught me a lot, and for that I'm grateful. So.
It's been a pleasure. I mean, honestly, like that. It wasn't a choice that we made to make the switch around, but I understand that trying to put the network together takes a lot more time than the show does.
I would
make sure you drop by and everything else.
No, that's for sure. We'll make sure you pick the best guest first. So there's that.
Yeah, we'll have Bill Bender from the Sporting News next week. So
right, and we have Rich Sermonelli from the Fan in New York, WFAN, and also SNY New York and the Maxwell Football Association, and also he was Campus Insider. So
if you got draft questions, what did we say it was going to be Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even maybe one more guy. The Rock.
There you go.
The Rock may show up, and not the one you're thinking about, but the one that we know.
Yeah, Dwayne's busy. I already contacted him. Yeah, he's busy with the XFL.
He's trying to figure out what to do with the XFL. So, all right, boys and girls, again, thanks you guys, and we're going to have a lot of fun, okay, and I definitely, I'm not going to be a stranger. I can tell you this, I would rather be spending an hour with Chris talking about stuff than spending an hour and a half on the phone with executives talking about backgrounds and things like that we have to have. So, anyway, it's been fun.
I know about backgrounds.
Yeah, who doesn't love background? So anyway, guys, have a safe and wonderful weekend, and on Monday, it'll be the Steamroller and Chris, and you'll have fun with those guys on Monday.
And like Tim always said, make sure that you guys, if you haven't done it yet, to go to the Majors Network page on YouTube and you can subscribe there because eventually they're going to move from all the other deals. I know we got people that come from all the Facebook pages or from the Winners and Winners YouTube and the Picks and Parlays YouTube and Midday Money with Sean Hicks from his page, winning free picks. Sure, go to the Max Wagers Network page. Like and subscribe there, and that way, when they do funnel, don't tell us about when that'll be.
We will. We will tell you. We will. I'll physically come here and tell you. And speaking of, don't forget, Sean Higgs at noon with Midday Money. We got Ellie at 1 o'clock in the morning, but it's at 2. Scott 3 to 4 coming.
They're currently on the Ocho.
Yeah. Coming on Monday, Sean Miller. He's expert in soccer, and then closing out the day with 6+ hours of good entertainment is Tim and Lenny as they do their thing, and get you ready for the night's entertainment. So by all means, from noon to 6 o'clock, you got plenty of stuff to do, but I'll have to come here first. And what do you guys do? You check that show because there's always going to be something there. All right, boys and girls.
Yeah, if you're looking for stuff about NASCAR, don't forget that Steve, Rydell, and myself will be on in about an hour to talk about this week's race, the Geico 500 coming live from Talladega.
No way.
Expect a lot of crashes and a lot of pretty fast crashes.
That's the fastest track in NASCAR.
Talladega. Also one of the places where you get the biggest crashes.
You do, because you're going fast, and nose to tail. It's going to be nose to tail.
I'm going to have a rechange for telling a super speed and Talladega Super Breakaway.
There's that. Well, there's Ricky Stenhouse help you.
That's true.
There's right. Ricky Bobby, you got Talladega Nights, so you may end up there. So, and just for the record, if you've never been there, it's in the middle of bloody nowhere. So,
that's pretty much all of Alabama.
It's Alabama is interestingly stretched out piece of state there, and Talladega is just like it's like they just dropped it there. It's a big speedway, and but it's a lot of fun. If you're in the neighborhood, drop by and check that out. It's a lot of fun. All right, boys, we're going to get out of here, but thanks for joining us, and back on Monday. Okay, all right, here we go.